Welcome to Klein's Geometry. Today we're going to talk about angles formed by parallel lines and transversals. And every time we look at things like that, we're going to start by looking at two parallel lines. And notice they have the little arrow that says they are parallel. If you don't have the arrows, you can't assume they're parallel. And then this red line is a transversal. And it's a transversal because it intersects the two parallel lines. Now, first thing I'd like you to notice here is we have 8 angles. When we're looking at these angles, there's 8 of them there. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 8 angles. Notice 4 of them are acute, 4 of them are obtuse. That will always be the case unless the transversal is perpendicular. So looking at this, the first thing we want to talk about is corresponding angles. It's a new term for you. Corresponding means this. Notice if I cover up angle 8, I can fit that little triangle right in there. And if I slide it up the parallel line, notice angle 4 is exactly the same measure. Also, if I were to cover up angle 1, fill that in with my little green triangle, so it tips there, I can slide that down here, and it's going to fill in angle 5, exactly the same. Same thing will happen on this other side, angle 3, and then I can slide it down here, and angle 7 is the same exact measure. Angle 6, and if I slide that up the transversal, angle 2 is the same measure. These are what you call corresponding angles because their angles correspond with each other. They're exactly the same slope. So if two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, pairs of corresponding angles are congruent. And all that means is when they correspond, and when they correspond, think about this as they're on the same side of the transversal. Corresponding angles are on the same side of the transversal. One is inside the parallel line and one is outside the parallel line. So that said, let's look at our corresponding angles again. Angle 1 corresponds with angle 5. Notice same side of the transversal. One is inside the line. Think of this as the interior of the two lines, the parallel lines. And here's the exterior. And here is the exterior, outside the parallel line. Okay? So angle 1 corresponds to angle 5, and we can say they're congruent. Angle 4 corresponds to angle 8. Their measures are congruent. Angle 2, exterior, outside of the parallel line, corresponds with angle 6, or angle 6. Their measures are congruent. And angle 3, inside the parallel lines, will correspond to angle 7, which is outside the lines on the same side of the transversal. Their measures are congruent. So those are our corresponding angles. Now, there are other congruent angles in this too. If you notice, looking at this, let's look at a different picture here. Which angles are congruent, which are supplementary? Let's start by looking at angle 1, and let's let it be 60 degrees. If it is, we know that angle 5, because it corresponds to angle 1, is also 60 degrees. We also know angle 8 is 60 degrees because 5 and 8 are vertical angles. And that would hold true over here also, so 1 and 4 must both be 60 degrees. So we've got 4 angles, and they're all the same measure from things we know. The corresponding angles postulate and the vertical angles postulate. Now let's look at angle 2. Can we find that measure? Well, 1 and 2 form a linear pair. So I know they're supplementary, and I can say 180 minus 60, that's 120. Right there is my measure of angle 2. If angle 2 is 120, angle 6 is, because they're complementary angles. And angle 3 must be 120 by the vertical angle theorem. Notice it shares a vertex. but not a side with angle 2, so it's also 120. And these two are complementary angles, so angle 7 is also 120. Also, it's vertical angles with angle 6. So, what's congruent, what's supplementary? There's 4 theorems that we can use here. First one, the alternate interior angle theorem. Remember, this is the interior of your parallel lines. And out here is the exterior. Here is also the exterior, these two angles, 1 and 2. So the alternate interior angle theorem, alternate means they're on opposite sides of the transversal, alternate, opposite. So 4 and 5, interior, inside the parallel lines, alternate, opposite sides of the transversal. 4 and 5, 3 and 6. So alternate interior angles are angles 4 and angle 5 and angle 3 and angle 6. Inside parallel lines, opposite sides of the transversal. That's what we know about alternate interior. And these are congruent angles. You can see that 3 and 6 are both 120 degrees, 4 and 5 are both 60 degrees. What about alternate exterior angles? For that, we're going to look at outside the parallel lines and opposite sides of the transversal. Okay, that's going to be alternate exterior. So we look at outside the parallel line. We got 1 and 8. They're both 60 degrees. 2 and 7. They're both 120. So alternate exterior angles are angle 1 is congruent to angle 8. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 7. Outside the lines, opposite sides of the transversal, and they're both congruent. Let's see if I can get that. No, I think that's as small as it's going to go. Now let's look at same side. What if they're on the same side and they're inside the line? So now let's look at 3 and 5 would be on the same side of the transversal and inside the parallel lines. Notice 5 is 60 and 3 is 120. Well, together that's 180. That's a pair of supplementary angles. 4 and 6, same side of the transversal inside the parallel lines. So again, a 60 degree angle, 120 degree angle. They're supplementary. So same side interior angles, you want to look at angle 3 plus, the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 5 equals 180. The measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 6 equals 180. Same side interior angles are supplementary. Well, let's take a look. One more relationship. Same side exterior angles. Outside the parallel lines, there's a 60 and a 120. They're supplementary. Same side exterior angles, 120, 60. They're on the same side of this transversal. Supplementary. So, your last theorem. Same side exterior angles. If two parallel lines are cut by a transversal, the two pairs of same side exterior angles are supplementary. The measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 7 equals 180. The measure of angle 2 plus the measure of angle 8 equals 180. So, to summarize all of this, let's go back to this, and we could say our congruent angles are going to be corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, and alternate exterior angles. Those pairs of angles will always be congruent. Our supplementary angles, that means sum of 180, are same side interior angles and same side exterior angles. And I always just think same sides are supplementary. Just roll that S and you'll remember supplementary. And all the other pairs, they're congruent. Remember, only two angle measures in this whole figure. And if they're on opposite sides of the transversal, corresponding, alternate interior, alternate exterior, congruent, same side interior, same side exterior, supplementary. Please watch the other video to see, the second video, to see how you're going to use this information. Be in class.